Yes, good Monday morning. It is Good News York, and I am Mike Brindisi here with you, coming to you from my Ithaca studio, my home studio, my bunker, if you will. I'm shot out of a cannon today. Danny and Matt are off doing a push-up contest for charity. I'm kidding. They don't care about charity. They're just doing push-ups somewhere. So you're stuck with me. I'm in a great mood because the weather's nice. Okay. The weather is nice. I've got shorts on. So that's that, because I wait till the last second to do shorts. And then once I'm in shorts and flip-flops, I stay that way for the entire season. But I did a lot of landscaping and lawn work this weekend, which, by the way, man, I have fought it for so long. Like, I feel like I'm sliding into my 40s perfectly, because I've just accepted that I like to do old man shit. I love taking care of my lawn, seeding it, watering it, weed whacking, mowing. I love it. And, I used to fight it. I remember I was at a restaurant once, like 5, 6, 7 years ago. I don't know. And I saw a commercial on television for a mulch. They were doing like a mulch blowout sale where it was, whatever, like 10 bags for $5. I screamed and pumped my fist like the Yankees had won the World Series or the Bills won the Super Bowl. And I was like, what has happened to me? I am an old man. But once you accept it, it's glorious. Because I've heard from other men and women, I'm sure. I haven't heard from women, but I've heard from other men that they too just love mowing the lawn and then looking at it after. And I've decided this sector of people, us, our idea of heaven really is just eternally riding on a mower with headphones on, drink in the cup holder on a sunny day, preferably sunny in 73. That's my sweet spot, by the way. Any hotter than that, and I'm like, any cooler than that, and I'm like, a little chilly. That's my sweet spot, sunny 73, baby. Okay? And I'm on a mower for eternity, just zenned out, Got a drink in the cup holder, something else, and we're just cruising. With that being said, there's a guy that lives in my neighborhood. It reminds me of like the episode of Friends, where they were like naked apartment guy or whatever. We have a lawn guy in our neighborhood. Now, when I say lawn guy, I don't mean like me, just like loves mowing the lawn. And I'm talking this dude, okay? Whenever my wife and I drive by, he's always out there. If it is spring or fall, as long as it's not raining or snowing, he's out there and he's manicuring his lawn. And I mean every time we drive by, it's something different. First of all, he's got an electric lawnmower, which is red flag. Like it's got a long cord and it's plugged in. And I'm like, might have some bodies in that garage. But he's either mowing or he's on his hands and knees and he's just like fidgeting around, mulching and planting, or he's just standing out there. I mean, I guess I'm kind of describing what I said I do. But here's the difference. We have caught this man on hands and knees, cutting his grass with scissors. That's next level. That's level 5 lawn master. But here's the thing. That's also level 1 serial killer. Possibly. He seems like a nice guy. What do I know? But then we thought there's got to be more to this. Nobody takes care. And by the way, his lawn, I'm so fucking jealous. Our lawns, the snow melts, everything's brown and bald, light green. His is like a fluffy carpet ready to go. And he puts the work in. And when you put the work in, you get results. So I can't be upset. I'm very jealous, but I don't have that kind of time. So we decided this dude, he must be like a Cornell, I live in Ithaca. He's got to be like some sort of, I don't know if botanist is the right, he's a professional. And recently we saw like kind of the hydroponic lights in his window. And we're like, yeah. So I'll keep you up to date on Lawn Guy. I got to get some footage of this guy. And I'm not making fun of the dude. I should just, you know what I should do? I should just interview him for the show. That's what I should do. I should interview him for the show because he is absolutely fascinating to me. Shout out to Lawn Guy. Okay. I had my weed whacker out this weekend I can't. Can someone help me? I start to weed whack, everything's fine, and then the spool thingy shoots out, and I have to rewire it, and it shoots out. So I'm doing something wrong. I don't understand how it's 2025 and we don't have some sort of we have an innovation for everything. You know? I mean, Amazon can pretty much bring a spoon to your mouth and drop food in there if you order it. Why are we still wrapping nylon around a fucking weed whacker? So I actually posted a video about that. Ah, what else? So yeah, so I after I get done here, I will be out there on the rider for the first cut of the season. I'm very excited about that. Um, man, I wanted to talk too. I am alone here, so I'm kind of speaking it into the air. But over the years, I had, my like anybody else, I had my handful of shows that I was into, whether it be Breaking Bad or Sons of Anarchy or The Sopranos, whatever, right? So I've got my daily sports shows that I love to watch, and then I had whatever series, Ozark, sure. With the oversaturation, between Prime Video, Netflix, Disney Plus, Peacock, Hulu, there's so many goddamn shows. Everyone's like, how are you not watching Billy? Or, how are you not watching The Restaurant? I'm just making names up. And I'm like, because I have a life. I've got a lawn to cut. No, it's a beautiful time as a viewer to consume media because it's everywhere and there's so much of it. But man, I'm having such a hard time finding like a show because by the time I'm searching on Netflix, if it's the end of the day and I have like 2 hours before I fall asleep to actually just like catch up on some shows, by the time I decide what I want, I'm too tired and I fall asleep with the remote in my hand. But listen, I'm not breaking any news here. Rotten Tomatoes has been around forever. And I finally decided, why don't you know what? I can't I've got like 5 or 6 shows that I want to watch on Netflix. How am I going to whittle this down? They all look equally good. So I went to Rotten Tomatoes, and Rotten Tomatoes has this feature where you can click Netflix, Hulu, Prime, all the things you can click one of them, you can click all of them, and then a genre, and it just whittles it all down, and you get good reviews. So highly recommend that. But man, I talked about becoming someone I'm not with the lawn. I'm becoming someone I wasn't as a viewer. I'm getting into these crime docs. I'm a middle-aged white woman. And sometimes I eat yogurt while I'm watching it. If I do avocado toast, just stick a fork in me. But, man, there are some good... Let me tell you. I watched last night. There's 4 episodes, 3 episodes, doesn't matter. I was going to watch 1 episode, maybe 2, and then go to bed. Hooked. Watch the whole thing. Gone Girls is the name of the documentary about the Long Island Gilgo Beach killer. Holy hell. This documentary is next level. I was blown away. And to give you a frame of reference, another one to watch that I think might even be a hair better than Gone Girls, probably the best crime doc I've ever seen, even though I'm new to the game, would be American Nightmare. These are both on Netflix. Check it out. Honorable mention to the Deadly American Marriage. That's new. There's a lot of dead in the title. And Nightmare. Well, I guess, it should be. It's a crime doc. A Deadly American Marriage. Good. Really, really good. But when I'm talking next level, cream of the crop, you got to check out Gone Girls, and you got to check American Nightmare. The trailer doesn't even give it justice because it gives you the basis of the movie, right? That's what a trailer does of the docuseries, whatever. It doesn't even scratch the trailer doesn't. The trailer tells you about the first part. There are so many twists and turns. I think I even had an audible holy shit at one point. For me to just have an audible holy shit, it's good. So I am all into the crime docs. I'll take your suggestions, but for me, my bar has been set with American Nightmare. Yeah. Talk about sports real quick. I'm not going to get heavy into it. We got heavy into it last week. We had Del Reed, co-founder of Bill's Mafia. Thank you again for coming on, Del. Got a lot of feedback on that. Since then, I do want to mention, because this is something cool whether you follow sports or not, I think. So Derek Carr is the quarterback of the Saints, and he had a shoulder injury, and it was rumored he was going to miss some time, if not the whole season. And the Saints, late drafted Tyler Shuck from Louisville. But there's been this theory floating around even before the draft that the Saints were going to tank, which means, just completely blow the season and not win as much as they could, so they get a very high draft pick, if not the number one draft pick. Because the rumor is that they want Arch Manning. Arch Manning is I should probably know exactly. He's basically the nephew of Peyton and Eli Manning, two Hall of Fame quarterbacks that are retired. He's their older brother, Cooper, who always got the short end of the stick, poor guy. Well, now's his time to shine. His son plays for Texas and he's a Manning. He is outstanding. I don't know if he's projected to be the number one pick. I think, is it Caleb Downs? I forget the guy's name. I haven't done any looking at the next year's draft. But my point is, here's the catch. The reason why the Saints, people are saying that they might tank for Arch is because Archie, the grandfather, Peyton and Eli's grandfather, was a quarterback who was the franchise quarterback for the New Orleans Saints way back in the days long before I was born. And so Peyton and Eli and Cooper all grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana. And therefore, it lines up the Saints, depending on how Tyler Shuck works out. They're looking for a quarterback, unless Tyler Shuck is like somehow the second coming. It would be absolutely amazing to see a quarterback who grew up in a city play for that city. Now, I say that because as far as my knowledge goes, I have looked it up. You can correct me, write in if you want. I don't think there's ever been a franchise, like a star quarterback. There might not have been any quarterback, but I know there hasn't really been a star quarterback who grew up in a city and then played for that team. And this could be the first. And not only that, but it's full circle because this kid's grandfather was the franchise quarterback for the Saints. So all of that to say, we need that to happen. We really do. It's something that whether you're a Saint, I'm not a Saints fan, I'm a diehard Bills fan. We need that for sports. That is the coolest shit. I think the closest thing we had, if you want to count this, in my research, I found that, who was it? Kosar? For the Browns, Bernie. Quarterback for the Browns. I think he was a Cleveland native and played, but didn't have the greatest career, but didn't have a terrible career. Anyway, my point is, it needs to happen. Arch Manning to the Saints. It would be good for the fans. It would be great for the NFL, and it would be amazing for Saints fans in particular. So look out for that. Keep an eye on that. Shedeur Sanders, everyone's keeping an eye on him. Let me just say this. Look, there's going to be so much coverage about Shedeur Sanders because his father is Dion and he's a high profile player. Let's just leave it at this. I'm not going to get too far in the weeds here, but the man had reportedly terrible interviews with teams, and he had gone on record as saying that he purposely tanked some interviews so that teams wouldn't pick him. He carries himself with there's a line between arrogance and confidence. I learned from a buddy of mine who was a sports psychologist that if you don't go out onto the field or out into the rink or on the court, whatever sport you play, if you don't truly believe that you're the best out there, you're already losing. You've already lost. You have to believe you're the best. But there is a fine line. And let's be honest. His father, Dion, one of the greatest athletes of all time, especially one of the greatest football players of all time, he was known for being cocky. And he said that. I'm cocky. I'm the best. And his son exudes that same kind of energy. And that's fine. Because when you come from that lineage, I feel like you kind of get a free pass. But you can't play the victim when you call yourself legendary and you haven't thrown a pass in the NFL yet. When you treat some of the teams that are interviewing you like you're too good for them. So then when you get drafted into the fifth round where he got drafted and act like, what's happening? That's what's happening, dude. Sometimes the juice isn't worth the squeeze. I've said that before on here regarding Shedeur Sanders. So I think it's great for all parties involved that this happened, that he slipped to the fifth round, because this is going to be less of a financial investment for the franchises, less of a risk, especially where he went, because they have a quarterback room of like 5 guys that it's mind-boggling what's going on there, but that's the Browns. And what I'm trying to say is, I'm losing my train of thought because I'm just cluttered with Shedeur Sanders BS lately. What I'm trying to say is, it's great for all parties involved because he will now truly have a reason to grind. And what I mean by that is, I don't want to say he's been spoon-fed, because he worked to get to where he did in college and to where he is now. There's no denying that. With a little help from his dad. But he's got talent. It's not like he's got zero talent, right? It's more about he's never had to really grind, right? Or at least in his mind. And on top of that, he's also making NIL money, right? These players make money in college now, so they don't have as much drive to really grind and get to where they want. Not all, some. I think this was such a humbling experience for him. He needed this, because I think this is what's going to make him work even extra hard, especially because he's in a QB room with 5 other potential starters or whatever it is. So, man, this could be great for him as a player, because he's going to feel like I'm pissed. It's a chip that he didn't know he would ever have. And I think that's great for him as an athlete, as a competitor, as a player, as a QB. And I think it's great for the organization, because they're going to get the best out of him, or at least as close to, right? So that's my thought on that to wrap up, just to recap a little bit of the sports thing. Moving along before we go. I mean, I'm not going here in the next few minutes, but the last thing I want to talk about, I thought I'd do something fun, man. I'm kind of for those of you that have that do know me, know that I'm at the I'm at this weird intersection of music. You know, I had a band called the New York Rock. I love writing and performing music. I'm a comedian, right? I love comedy. I love performing comedy. I love watching comedy. Life is a comedy to me. And sports, especially NFL, but all sports, I've always loved sports. So I'm at this intersection of sports, comedy, and music. And along the way, I never really knew how that all fit together, or if it could fit together. And, you know, thank you to my partner, Matt, my guy, not my sexual partner. Well, not yet. No, my friend, my boss, my guy, my co-anchor on this show, Matt, gave us a platform where I've kind of been doing all 3 of those, talking about all 3 of those, just giving me a place where it all makes sense. And I'm so thankful for that, because I love all 3 very much, almost equal. So with that being said, I thought I would do a little bit of On This Day in Music. All right. So I don't know if this is going to be a recurring segment, but I just thought it was pretty cool. Now, I'm a big rock guy. All right. I love rock and roll. But over the years, it's such a boomer thing for me. I love rock and roll. It is just so great. Um, I only have 10 minutes left on this. There's actually a countdown on this recording. But anyway, I thought I would just bring this up because it's fun, it's cool. I love rock music, but as time went on, I found out a good song is a good song. Good music is good music, whether it's country, rap, hip hop. I mean, you listen to my Apple Music library. I mean, you could go from Alanis Morissette to Pantera to Frank Sinatra. You know what I mean? It's just good music is good music. And I feel like nowadays that's kind of more of a thing anyway. People are listening to everything and by mood because all the great stuff's been done already as far as I'm concerned. But on this day in 1967, Jimi Hendrix's Are You Experienced by the Jimi Hendrix Experience was released in the UK. Widely regarded as one of the greatest debuts in the history of rock music. I mean, it's Jimi Hendrix. The album features Jimi's approach to songwriting, electric guitar playing, which was, at the time, unlike anyone had ever seen. Some songs on there you would know, Voodoo Child and others, but Purple Haze. I think Voodoo Child was on that one. But there were two on there that are my favorite Hendrix songs, and that's Red House, which I would play, which maybe I'll play in post-production. I'll put it on there. Red House by Jimi Hendrix is my favorite Jimi song, and then Castle Made of Sand. Check those songs out. Those are your songs of the day today. But in 1967, on May 12th, the Jimi Hendrix Experience came out, which is really mind-blowing because also on this day, in 72, the Rolling Stones released Exile on Main Street. What? How are two iconic albums released on the same day, obviously years apart? But yes, Exile on Main Street, that was their second album on their own label. It was a double set, featured two singles, Tumblin' Dice and Happy. And in 2003, the album was ranked number 7 on the Rolling Stones magazine list of 500 greatest albums. That's outstanding. And by the way, let me round it out with this. And then in 73, a year later, Zeppelin had come out in March with Houses of the Holy. But today, in 1973, they started a 3-week run at number 1 on the U.S. album charts with their 5th album, Houses of the Holy. Had no quarter. It had a bunch more that I'm blanking out on, but it doesn't matter because they went on to sell 11 million copies in the U.S. of Houses of the Holy. And I got to thinking, so and then I went to the album while I was looking this stuff up. There was 8 songs on that album, which was your average. A lot of times albums had, it went by minutes, but sometimes they'd have 8, sometimes they'd have 12. I'd say 8 to 12, somewhere in there. But I'm thinking of the way that the music business is now and the way that the business model is set up. Barely a business. It's mind-blowing to me, the difference in how much money people made back then to now. I mean, it was 8 songs. You could record 8 songs right now, throw them out there, and nothing happens. Doesn't get a sniff. Or you might get one of your songs becomes a hit. Even then, you're going to make a couple bucks, man. Back then, 11 million albums off of 8 songs. They put out 8 songs and 11 million copies were sold. It's the sign of the times, right? It's just the way the world consumes things now, but it's just mind-blowing, what it took then to become an icon. 8 songs on an album, and they sold 11 million. And now, can barely sell a song. But here's the thing, the one thing that I used to love and that I feel bad my kids are going to miss out on is I remember when Load and Reload came out for Metallica or the new Dave Matthews Band record. I don't know. Anything. Lit. We would get out of school. I remember the day Dookie came out. I remember I feel like it was also the same day as 4 by Blues Traveler. There's a day in 1992 that'll blow your fucking mind, by the way. It was like Pearl Jam. Everybody came out with the most amazing records. Anyway, my buddy Brett and I went to his house. We went and bought the albums. We went to his house, unwrapped them, and listened to them over and over. And I remember when Load and Reload came out. I was a little bit older. We were teenagers, smoking cigarettes, riding around in the Mohawk Valley, just playing those albums over and over while handing each other the liner notes. And I know I sound like an old man. I don't care. I feel like it sucks for people coming up now that they won't get to experience it. Yeah, sure, they can listen to it on their phone and read whatever, but it was an experience, man. It was like when you're passing a joint, man, it's the experience. Anyway, so on this day in music, again, you had in 1967, Jimi Hendrix's Are You Experienced came out. In 72 on this day, Exile on Main Street, and in 73, Led Zeppelin Houses of the Holy started its 3-week #1 run. Which, by the way, speaking of the Stones real quick, like I like the Rolling Stones a lot. I'm not a hardcore fan. I'm a hardcore Beatles fan. But with that being said, it's purely out of taste. I don't believe in the whole, well, I'm a Beatles guy. I'm a Stones guy. Why can't you be both? Or I'm a dog person. I'm a cat person. I like dogs and cats. I don't know. I'm not trying to be too much of a diplomat here. I just feel like why can't they coexist? Anyway, that's my thought. And I will say this, I'll finish it on this one, on this Monday edition of Good News York. Regarding Hendrix, if you go back and watch Hendrix, like literally go back and watch, not the stuff you've heard and the Woodstock performance, those are great. I'm just saying, go watch him on different shows he was on. Sometimes I feel like we have to say like, oh, he's one of the greatest guitarists, but you don't really feel that. You feel like you're obligated to say that. He was one of the greatest guitarists. His style, even today, holds up. For me, I've always said, people try to go, who's the best guitarist of all time? That's fucking impossible, man. But I believe there's best, some of the best, and then technical wise, and then I believe there's the favorites, right? Your taste. So for me, I think pound for pound, the best, in my opinion, be Eddie Van Halen. Technical-wise. Hendrix is up there, too. All of them are up there. But for me, it's him. Favorites? That's so hard. Slash. Why Slash? Because you could sing every solo he ever wrote. Same thing with David Gilmour from Pink Floyd, one of my favorites. Slash, David Gilmour, Jimmy Page. Iconic riffs and solos. But anyway, that's on this day in music. I'm going to head out. I'm running out of time here. I am on a timer today. Too much to explain. But this has been a Monday edition of Good News York. Mike Brindisi flying solo. Be back tomorrow in studio with Matt Mazer, the dynamic duo. We will be back for Tuesday News Day. We got a lot of guests coming up in the next few weeks. Very excited about that. Shout out to our producer, Danny Tripodi, and Malachi Mazer, our great Good News York editor. Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, you can always catch new episodes Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern at goodnewsyork.com. Check out our YouTube channel. We're at Good News York on all social media. And you can follow me on social media at Mike B TV. Put it up on the screen, Mals. Mike B TV, MikeBTEEVEE on all social media. Get out there, mow your lawn, throw your headphones on, and you know what? Listen to the 3 albums that came out today in music history that were released on May 12th. Jimi Hendrix's Are You Experienced? Exile on Main Street by the Stones. And Houses of the Holy began its 3-week #1 run on the Billboard charts today. So there's 3 albums for you to listen to while doing your lawn today. Get out there, enjoy the sun. We love you. Mike Brindisi. See you tomorrow.